car in such good condition, it may as well have sat in a museum. This is an award-winning car and a fascinating Japanese import. Today, we're with Paul and his amazing Jaguar XJ Super V8. But that really is just the start of the story. Welcome back to Rest Arrival. I'm your host, Will. Let's get into it. Paul, thanks for your time today. Tell us what we have in this beautiful blue body.
Well, this is an X350. It's a 2006 XJ. The X350 is the model designation, and this one happens to be the Super V8, which is the 4.2 litre V8 supercharged. It's like an XJR but with luxury features. So it's got the comfort suspension rather than the sport suspension.
Yeah.
But basically that's what it is.
Fantastic. I mean, yeah, when you first said it was the Super V8, I thought that was just an affectionate name for it. But no. It's basically just as fast but more luxurious. Exactly
right. Yes, exactly.
So this isn't your first Jag, is it?
No. I was lucky enough in 1986 actually to have my first Jaguar. Well, actually it was a Daimler, as it happens. It was a Daimler XJ40, 3.6 litre engine, brand new, company car, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
So that was my introduction to Jags, and I thought it was great car. And then over time, as Jaguars introduced better and more powerful versions, of course I was hooked. So for my 40th birthday I bought myself the XJR 6-cylinder when it first came out, in turquoise, as it had to be.
Nice.
And that was an awesome car. I just loved that thing. And then when they brought the V8 out, the XJR V8, the 4 litre, and that was the X308 version, I had one of those. I bought one of those, and that was actually in blue like this, and it had a kind of ivory interior like this.
Yeah.
And so that was a great car, and with various business changes and so on, I ended up moving away from Jaguars and having Mercedes and Land Rovers and other things. But I kind of always hankered after another Jag.
Yeah. And this one, you were quite choosy with, weren't you? You didn't want a lot of the Jag XJs of this world are on high mileage, have been run into the ground, probably rusty. So
yes,
talk us through the sort of rationale to finding this one.
So when I just had this idea in my head, wouldn't it be nice to get a Jaguar again? And I particularly love XJs because they've got the space, as they say, the grace, the pace and the space. They have all of that, and therefore they're practical cars, but also beautiful in my opinion, and I love the sort of flowing lines of them and everything. And I just thought, well, wouldn't it be nice to, now I'm kind of in a retirement mode, to have something that I could just enjoy. And I started to look around, and I first of all started looking for XJRs because that's what I had in the past, and I went to see a few, and to be quite honest, I was actually disappointed. I thought, time has moved on. They're getting quite old now, and the condition of them, the mileage, the bills that people were paying to keep them on the road, it just sort of felt like I could end up with a frustrating money pit, and I particularly wanted something really nice, and I almost sort of gave up on it. And then I happened to notice that you could go to specialist dealers who brought cars in from Japan, and I thought, I wonder, what's that about really? And on the various Jaguar forums, I see people talking about Japanese Jaguars, and I started to get a little bit interested. I had, there's a stigma against imported cars, and it's an age-old thing really, but I started to think, well, actually maybe there's something in this. And the more I looked into it, the more I realised why cars from Japan are a very good proposition. So in Japan, first of all, a car like this, a Jaguar, is a revered vehicle. You know, they're not just an everyday car, usually driven by chauffeurs, meticulously maintained. Literally, they'll drive them with white gloves on, and the boss would sit in the back, and the driver would be responsible for everything and would make sure everything was perfectly clean. And over time in Japan, you have various tests that you have to put the car through. It's called the Shaken test, I believe. And as the car gets older, the test gets more and more strict and more expensive, to the point where it becomes unviable, really, to keep them. And I guess that's how Japan keeps older cars off the road. But actually it gives an opportunity for us, because they're right-hand drive vehicles, of course, because Japan drives on the same side as we do. And the cars get imported back to either the UK or to Australia, New Zealand. So that's where I started looking at Japanese cars as being a potential route. And so I started getting onto the websites and looking at, you know, what was coming up. And but again, very picky. You know, certain colours I like, certain colours I don't like, certain looks of the car and so on. So I was pretty picky.
Yeah. And so what was it about this one that took your fancy?
So the dealer that I started to talk to is based in North London, called the Wise Motor Company. Kept on looking at his website from time to time. Then suddenly I saw this car came up, and it said on the website this is an XJ Super V8, which is, as I've said, is a higher end version of the XJR. Got exactly the same engine, exactly the same performance, but more of a luxury car. The colour I wanted, which is actually, funnily enough, it's the same colour as the last XJR, or more or less the same as the last XJR I had all those years ago. And I thought, actually, that sounds pretty good. And it was 19,000 miles on it. And I thought, well, okay, that does sound good. So I looked through the spec on his website, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do this. I just want to do it. And I hadn't seen the car.
Right.
So I sent an email back and I said, Martin, I've decided to buy the car. And so please let me know what I need to do, but I'll buy the car. And I didn't hear back from him for quite a few days, a week probably. And I got an email back and he said, I'm sorry, I've been away on holiday and I've come back. And he said, actually, I'm a little annoyed with my son, who put this car on the website while I was away. He said, and I hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I have seen it, and there is absolutely no way I would have sold it for that price.
Yeah.
But to be fair to you, you did say you wanted it. We did put it up, and you can have it.
There you go.
So there you go. That's
slightly fortuitous.
Very fortuitous, exactly.
What do you think the premium would have been? Do you know?
I don't really know. I mean, look, I paid just under £20,000 for this car, which for an XJ is quite high.
Yeah.
But it's all about the condition of it. And I've been offered 30 for it already, just by chance. So I don't know. I mean, it certainly would have been upper 20s. Yeah. But this, of course, would have been a £85,000 car back in 2006. So you've got to look at the value that you're getting out of these things.
Yeah.
What are you going to buy for 20 grand now?
Yeah.
You know, like
not a new car. Yeah.
No. And if it is, it's a little tiny little runaround or something. It's not like this.
Not at all. And you know, we were chatting off camera, and even when I opened the door, it smelt new.
Yes.
Brand new. I've been absolutely amazed by the condition of this car. I think it's 19 years old.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll sort of come on to the hypothesis is that this was a chauffeur-driven car.
Yes.
You know, we've got sun blinds for the windows. We've got rear heated seats. You've got rear memory seats.
Yes.
You've got audio controls in the armrest.
Yes.
It this does have like a real element of luxury and
Yes.
limousine spec about it, doesn't it?
I think that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah, and yeah, we were also looking at the history, the Japanese service history, which sort of conforms to the stereotypical fastidious nature of the Japanese culture. It's
Yes.
it's
Very much so.
incredibly detailed. It's everything is ticked off from, checking the belts to spark plugs, the battery, the brake pedal, everything. So
Yes, yeah. Well, remember this car had only done 1,000 miles a year.
yeah,
And it had been serviced every year.
Yeah.
And oil change, everything.
it's
And
fantastic.
it must have been used by a company director or owner or whatever, I guess. And it was in Yokohama. I know that because that's on the records.
Yeah.
No salt on the roads, and probably was only brought out for very special occasions.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, and to be fair, you try and keep to that same standard, don't you? You wouldn't take this on a salty road or a winter's day, would you?
No, I wouldn't. And in a way, therein lies a dilemma.
Yeah.
Because when you've got a car in this condition,
Yeah.
at this age, you start to think, actually, should I really use this very much?
Yeah.
Because it is so nice. And I don't need to use it in the winter, so I don't.
No.
But I do like to take it out on summer days. And it's a lovely, lovely car to drive. It literally drives like new.
Yeah.
It is like new, underneath as well as on top.
Yeah.
So I do like to take it out. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's got 24,000 miles on it now. Yeah, I mean, even if I put another 10,000 on it, it's still very low mileage. It doesn't. It's not going to suffer from mileage at all.
Yeah.
And I'll get it serviced every year. It's MOT'd every year, of course. Yeah, so I will use it. I will enjoy it. I'd love to take it on a European trip sometime. But yeah, I will.
This does have a European trip written all over it.
I think it does. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. This on a smooth, Swiss road.
Swiss road.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
So you've tried to keep to a very high standard, as we've said, but it's actually an award-winning car from a Jaguar concourse event, isn't it?
Yes, actually, that's right. The Jaguar Drivers Club have an annual concourse event, which is held not far from where I live here. We're in Northamptonshire, and it's held at Whittlebury Hall, which is near Silverstone, actually. So I went along to that event last July, and before the event, I was, given the option of entering it into concourse, and I thought, well, okay, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
Let's give it a go. So I cleaned the car up, I took it over, and it was put on display with a number of other XJs. And my name was called when they were announcing the awards. And so I drove it into the ring, and I got what they call the bronze level award, which you start at bronze and obviously move up to silver and gold. Yeah. But you can't go in at a higher level. You have to go through those 3 steps.
Yeah.
So the scrutineers had been over it, I don't know, marshals, whatever you call them, the testers. They'd looked at everything, opened the boot, opened the bonnet, looked round, got the mirrors out, everything else, and it obviously, achieved that result. So I do have the shield for that, and next July I'll put it into the next level, see whether we can notch it up to silver. But when I looked at the other cars, I felt a bit guilty, to be honest. Because there are people who've obviously spent so long getting their cars up to a level of condition, and I just bought it like this. So I feel a little bit guilty, to be honest.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, is if you're being fair and honest, how much of it was you and how much of it was the car?
Most of it was the car.
Yeah.
The vast majority of it.
Yeah.
Yes, I can clean it.
Yeah.
I had it ceramic coated, and professional valet guy did all that. So the interior's been done, the glass has been done, the wheels have been done, everything's been done. So in a way, it's pretty easy to keep clean. Yeah, I mean, you just sort of go over it with a vacuum, and I suppose when you go up the concourse levels, then out comes the toothpicks, and it'll get to the point where I think I've done enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, as I said, I was absolutely gobsmacked in how well this car has been kept, and
Yes. Well, frankly, when I bought it, I was amazed.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen the car. I bought it sight unseen.
Yeah.
And when I actually went to collect it, I thought, bloody hell, you know, this is amazing. I didn't expect it to be as good as this. It was too much to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a car that is just nice to have.
It is nice to have.
I find myself smiling just stood next to it.
Yeah,
It's
it
got
is.
a real presence, and as we were saying off camera, this era of Jaguar had so much pride in the way it was built. There's Jaguar name badges inside and out all over the car.
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
you know, the attention to detail, whether it's the soft open of the ashtray in the door card,
Yes, exactly.
or you know, the memory seat functions and everything else in between. There was such pride in the way that Jaguar built this that.
Yeah, so I think this is peak Jag.
Yeah.
Because if you go back through the history of Jaguar, they had a checkered history. I mean, they were an independent company, then they became part of British Leyland, then they became part of Ford, and, you know, of course, now they're part of the Tata Group. But this was Ford era, and what had happened is that Ford put a lot of money into Jaguar. They were really struggling for investment, and Ford put the investment in, hence this is an aluminium bodied car, very expensive to tool up and to make. And as you said, there's real pride in it, and I think it just became that era where the shape of the car was just beautiful, the quality of it, the attention to detail. You know, it's real British engineering at its best, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to look under the bonnet, and I'm sure other people would very much like to see.
Okay, well, let's
What
open
is
the bonnet.
probably a very neat engine bay.
Yes.
Well, I wasn't wrong. This is a very, very clean, neat engine bay with a massive block in the middle.
Exactly.
Yeah, lots of cars I film with, you have massive gaps in the engine bay where you can
there's
reach
no room
things,
here.
and this is yeah, engineered to perfection in terms of available space, really, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, supercharged cars are just a joy to behold, but when it's a supercharged V8,
Yes.
sat in comfy, you know, leather seats,
Exactly.
sat in an armchair effectively,
Exactly. But when you need it, you can put your foot down,
and it was
and off it goes.
yes,
Yes. So it's one of those cars that you can just float along. You can just bumble about,
Yeah.
no problem. And then if you've got a tractor in front of you, bang, and that's it. It's gone.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a road trip car, isn't it?
It is. And the aluminium body makes it light.
Yeah,
So it's noticeably quicker than the XJ I had before, which was of course a steel body.
yeah,
Yeah, it really is quicker. I mean, you can modify these. You can put different pulley configurations on them to get another 20, 30 brake horsepower out of it.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything like that. I just think keep it original.
yeah. You didn't strike me as the type that would be modifying your car.
No.
And
The only thing I did do was I put a different, an upgraded sat nav and you know, music system in there, which would play Apple CarPlay and things like that.
Yeah.
That's made a big difference too. It's modernised the car.
yeah, perfect. Okay, well, I think we should take it out for a drive.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Love the sound of a
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
sort of lazy V8. It's obviously
Lazy
quite
V8.
powerful, but
Yes.
it's not.
No, it's,
You know.
as you say, it just bumbles away.
Yes. I can't get over how nice the interior is, both from a quality, but also from a longevity perspective. It smells new in here.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
quite incredible to have a car. You know, I have my BMW 6 Series is the same age as this, and mine next to this.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've had new Jaguars. I've driven them out of the showroom, and this is exactly like that.
Yeah.
It's no different. And you know, you have to sort of think, hang on a minute, this is 19 years old. You know, how does it manage that?
Yeah, I think the history speaks for itself.
Yeah. But you know, as we were talking, you can just bumble away in this. Just drive it at whatever speed you like, through the town, whatever, it doesn't matter. And yet, if you want to come out on the road and open it up, you can. You know, it's there to do.
Yeah, it's just so serene to just sit here and yeah, it's a lovely car to just sit in and drive around.
Yes. I know.
I suppose the irony of us driving on these B roads is that, you know, in Japan it was probably straight blocky roads in traffic.
Probably.
You know, maximum 20-30 miles an hour.
Probably true. Yeah, you're right.
Chauffeur driven.
I can imagine the boss wanted to go out for a dinner in Tokyo or something, and
Yes.
the chauffeur would be called, and he'd get his suit on, he'd get his white gloves on, and he'd drive the boss in, and probably have to sit in the car for hours while his boss had a sumptuous meal somewhere.
No doubt. This is what I find fascinating about cars like this. Is I start to sort of role play in my head what this would have been like in 2006, and
Yes.
kind of play the scenarios of like you say, was it a chauffeur just sat waiting for the boss?
Yeah, I've been to Japan quite a few times in my working career, and I've been taken out to dinner, a long dinner by Japanese business leaders and things, and I can just imagine it. The chauffeur just waited in a side street somewhere until his boss called him, and then he showed up to take him home. Usually at about 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so as I say, if you want to open up, then you can. Nice, eh?
It doesn't almost feel possible to
No.
be in this like luxurious, quiet surroundings, and then it's like, you've poked the bear and then slapped it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Because you get the V8, but then you also get the whir of the supercharger.
Yes, it's a lovely sound. I think it's
like double prodding an angry bear, isn't it?
That's right. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just, so unnecessary to put a supercharger on a V8, but then for this reason alone,
Why not?
it's so enjoyable.
Yes. Smiles per gallon,
Yes,
as they say.
absolutely.
And actually, it's not bad. I mean, the fuel consumption's all right. 23, 24.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad.
No?
I mean, if you used it as a daily driver, long miles and things, yes, you'd feel the cost. But to be honest, for a few thousand miles a year, it's not an issue.
Yeah, not at all.
I always put premium fuel in it,
Yeah.
just so it keeps it running well.
Yeah, this is not the car you buy when you're worried about fuel consumption.
No. I have to say though, it's a better fuel consumption than the last one, the XJR I had before, the X308, because it was much heavier.
Yeah.
So, round town you'd be getting 15 in that, whereas, I think this is easily low 20s, even with town use. And if you take it on a run, you get 30.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's so nice having a car that you can waft in, but it's so nice knowing that it can go like stink if you need it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
Perfect
fantastic.
combination.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It's, as you say, peak Jag.
Big Jag, yeah. So it looks great. It's so comfortable.
Yeah.
Lovely interior, nice place to be. You can waft along, but if you want to go, you
still
can
embarrass,
Yeah,
the modified cars at the traffic lights.
exactly.
Well, thank you for today. Thank you for taking me out
No, it's a pleasure, Will. It's
in
nice
your Jag. It's
nice to share it with you.
yes, and hopefully, other people appreciate this as well, and
Yeah.
appreciate the story and the history of the car. And it's been a fascinating listen.
Yes. Thank you. Well, it's nice to participate. It's, you know, it's good to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you want to hear more stories like this, please subscribe, and yeah, see you next time.